session here in the ASMR Chess Cozy Nest with the ChessUp 2 board. So what we will do is we will use this fantastic board. We will go to chess.com. We want to play some game. 5 minutes, that's too fast, I think, because we want to relax. So let's choose maybe 15 minutes plus 10 seconds every move and search for an opponent like so. And while we search, I can tell you that if you want the board, this magnificent piece of chess technology, well, then there is a 10% discount if you use my link and promo code in the description. And we meet logical singularity. They play e4, we play c5. I'm going to turn this around, so you may better see like so. They play knight f3, we play d6, going for the Sicilian Dragon, and we can actually see they play bishop c4, that they logical singularity with a rating of 1959 are from Denmark, like I am ASMR Chess, with a considerably lower rating of 1787. Can we beat them? Let's see. After bishop c4, I'm going to play knight to f6, and I'm also thinking about, okay, so they play knight c3. They're not playing an open Sicilian. That is surprising, I would say. Let's try to play pawn to g6, get into a quick dragon here. Okay, so now they play d4, so we play pawn takes pawn. They will play knight takes, I'm pretty sure, yes. Knight takes. And I'll put the pieces I lost over here and the pieces I won over here. And now we go for bishop to g6 to get into the Sicilian Dragon setup. They castle. And we can also castle as well. So usually when I play the Sicilian Dragon, my opponent plays something called the Yugoslav attack, which is quite different from the setup that my opponent has chosen here. This setup here has a king castled to the king side. In the Yugoslav attack, the white king will castle to the queen side and try to launch a pawn storm with the pawns over here. We're seeing something different. I think we can try just to play knight to c6 and challenge this center knight a little bit. The white bishop coming to g5 is, I don't know. Okay, this is a little surprising. We see queen to d3. That's not something that I feel I see that often. I could already play knight takes, knight, queen takes, and then see if I have some interesting thing to do with this knight, opening up the bishop for an attack. It does not look like I do, though. I could play queen to b6, queen coming to b6, attacking the knight, attacking the pawn here. Maybe we will see something like bishop dropping back to e3 in that case. Or maybe we just play something quiet, like bishop to e2, We could also consider something like knight b4, picking up a bit of a tempo on the queen. The queen moves. I'm not sure we have any interesting follow-up after that. So I'll just play bishop to d7. I think bishop d7. Are they then playing pawn to f4? Let's find out. Bishop d7. So now we are very close to having a very traditional setup with the black pieces here. Okay, interesting. Rook on a to d1. Not sure what they are really threatening. I will play rook to c8. Just be a little patient here. Now I'm pretty close to developing all my pieces. And yeah, I can tell you something I'm super excited about. So I just spoke to Jeff, who invented this chessboard here, the ChessUp and the ChessUp 2. And one of the really cool things, of course, is that this is cool out of the box, but it can be updated. And he just told me about some super cool updates that they are doing. I can't, unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to tell you what they are, but they're really cool. Really cool. So they should be coming out sometime soon, and I'm so excited. Just with even more functionality to the board. So they play rook f to e1. And yeah, I'm thinking about a move like queen to a5, hitting the bishop. I'm not sure it does too much besides that. There's also, I don't know, knight takes knight, queen takes knight, knight, g4, queen goes somewhere. Do we have something there? Can that knight do anything interesting? Not sure. We could also just play queen to c7. Threatening knight takes knight, queen takes knight, queen takes c4. I kind of like that, except for knight coming here. Let's try queen a4. Let's just try this. I think we have a very solid position. They are very strong in the center. We are threatening their bishop. That may be a little misplaced, I don't know. And maybe we are threatening a little something. Knight takes knight, queen takes, and the queen goes maybe back because she has to keep protection of this. So the rook also attacking the c4. I think I kind of like this position. But we are playing against a very strong player, almost 2000, so I'll try not to drift off too much. I'll let you drift off to this relaxing chess video, and I'll try to see if I can stay just a little sharp. But of course, it's always tough when you play against high-rated opponents. What else can we say about this position? We're attacking the bishop. let's say the bishop just moves. Where would it go? All the way back to d2? I mean, if they go to d2, maybe we go to b6, bishop to d2, queen to b6, attacking here. Also, the bishop looks awkward there. Bishop to e3. Looks like a very logical move. But then maybe knight g4 actually could also be the case that we would see knight takes knight. That's also absolutely possible. So in that case, probably I will capture with the pawn to get a pawn closer to the center and then play maybe pawn to c4 to control the d4 square later. That could be like very useful perhaps. There's of course also bishop takes and rook takes. I think bishop takes could be considered to get the bishop on this nice long diagonal pointing towards the king. But my first thought is that taking with the pawn is a little better. Of course, I will have to then move the rook to get that active. Our opponent is taking their sweet time. That's nice. We're catching a bit up on the clock here. We can see they're just below 11 minutes. We have 10.5 minutes, so we're not that far behind anymore. And how do we feel about our king safety? I think the king safety is actually excellent currently. We have a lot of protective stuff going on around the king. They could try to chip away at that with something like f4, f5, but I would have some time to react to that. I would say the queen being here on d3 is a little weird for them. So I feel maybe that's exploitable. Maybe there could be something like knight b4, an idea with knight b4. The queen moves because, okay, so the bishop drops back here, which to my eyes looks like we are just winning a piece. It looks like knight takes knight, queen takes knight, and pawn to e5 wins a piece. Wait a minute. Knight takes knight, queen takes e5. I mean, the queen is attacked. We'll have to move. I think we're just going to play that. That looks very good. I think, was that a mistake by our high-rated opponent? Maybe it was. Okay, we do see queen takes. We will then play pawn. Pawn on to e5. And they can of course play queen takes e6, pawn takes bishop, and queen takes bishop on f4. So they do get 2 pawns. But if they were banking on queen takes e6, pawn takes here, and then queen takes the bishop, that does not work. So they do play this because the bishop is defended. And I mean, we're also attacking this bishop here. So they can't even take. So I think we will capture first this bishop. So we won a piece and we're attacking a second piece, and they can't recapture our pawn. So okay, they play the pawn forward. Clever plan. But can we Okay, so that's very clever play from them. Very nice. So we could play, I think just moving the knight is probably pretty good. Because if queen takes, we have rook takes bishop here. So I think just moving the knight is okay. We could move the knight back. That would force queen takes. And then rook takes. But then the knight would be awkward. So probably the knight. Okay, but if the knight goes here, of course, then the queen would be attacking the knight if the queen captures here. So we could also go to h5. That looks a little bit weird. The knight is a little bit weird, but that's only because of this pawn. So I think knight coming to h5 is really good. Mostly because we have all the time this, when they win our bishop, we win their bishop. And if they try to sneak in bishop takes f7, we can capture with the rook protecting our bishop here. And I think we have an excellent position, basically. Actually also doing pretty well on time. Yeah, 8 minutes, they have 9 minutes. We do have that sweet increment. So if there's not any more going on in the position, I will have to start to convert the win. But after these tactical mayhems, these little slugfests, there is, okay, they do capture here. So we will capture the pawn, capture the bishop here. After these, it's usually the case that that I need to figure out how to stabilize the position and not make an immediate tactical mistake. But I am threatening a bunch of stuff. I can come in and capture this pawn here. Not sure I want to, but I can. Maybe they will advance that pawn. I don't know. Maybe if they just push the pawn on now, I probably will have to capture it, but I can't because, okay, they didn't. I think that may have been a very strong move, except maybe for knight coming back with an attack on the queen. So they capture here. So they win a pawn. But we can win the pawn back. Which I think is probably pretty good. Also threatening to come in here. I would consider pushing this pawn forwards if queen takes was not an option. So I'll just play bishop takes here. So now we are ahead with a bishop for a pawn. So our material count is very good. I think these two rooks are very good for white. I think this knight is not so good for us. This rook is nice, but it's unprotected and a little bit in enemy territory. So for instance, pushing the pawn on here earlier, pawn takes pawn, we could actually see queen takes pawn and then queen takes rook. Aha. So now we see rook coming here, being defended by the queen and by the so actually we may not be out of it quite yet, but I think I have a trick that will help. I think queen to c7, because then we are threatening to capture their queen. So if they play queen takes queen, we can then play bishop takes their rook or their queen, and then it will be out of the attack. I just want to check if there is something else I should consider. No, I think this works quite well. And of course, if they don't play queen takes queen and they move the queen somewhere, we can maybe trade the bishop for this knight, or we can put the bishop back in the sniper's nest. We have many options there. And we are very close to evening out on time, actually. They are approaching our 60 minutes and 50 seconds, and they are reaching it in 3, 2, 1. And now we are ahead on time. So we do see the queen coming to b5. So is this threatening anything, or can we just play bishop takes knight, pawn takes knight, rook takes pawn, winning a pawn? I think we can play that, unless they have some sort of nasty draw with rook takes knight, pawn takes, queen check, king here, queen check, king here. But they would have to recapture the bishop first, so they don't have time really to do that. So they do capture here, and I think just to avoid some kind of annoying draw like that, we should perhaps move this knight back with an attack on the rook. The knight would be undefended there. Let's see, rook takes pawn, rook takes knight, pawn takes, queen check, king moves, queen check, king moves, and we're not getting out of those checks. So that's a way they could get a draw. So I think I will just move the knight back with an attack on the rook and no opportunity for them to sacrifice the exchange and get a draw by a perpetual check. And I don't think these pawns are going anywhere. They are really weak, very hard to defend. I think maybe almost impossible to defend, actually. And it's not exactly clear where the rook is going. The rook is being attacked. So how are we doing here? We are actually still just up a piece. For one pawn. Okay, pretty cool. But also we have inflicted this weakness. These two pawns are isolated, cannot be protected by pawns. Yeah, so they're isolated, and we are attacking them with this battery of queen and rook. And it doesn't look like there's too much going on in terms of counterplay. I think actually if I even lost my knight for free, I would say that I would be down a pawn, but I would still think I'm like close to equal, just because of the weakness of the structure over here. And perhaps also this pawn here on f4 is really, really strong, perhaps. Given half a chance, we'll push that to f3. It's a sacrifice. They can take it, but their king will be even more exposed. They will have these doubled pawns. There will be double pawns here and here. Okay, they go back here. They're trying to defend this, but what's the trick? Because I could just capture. And rook takes and queen takes, so what's the trick? I would be attacking the rook. I think we'll just go for that. Rook takes, queen takes, attacking the rook. I think that works. Rook takes pawn. And of course trades are good for us. Okay, rook takes rook. Queen takes rook. And they can try some fancy rook e8 thing, because I would actually have queen a1, rook e1 checkmate with queen takes e1 at the end there. So the rook goes back here, and I think we can either push this pawn, which is very strong now that we are also defending this. So if pawn takes, we actually come in immediately and capture it with the queen. And yeah, that looks very strong. We'll just do that. And if they play pawn to g3, we will have a plan of maneuvering our queen around and checkmate on g2, being supported by the pawn. There's a bit of a way to get there, but I think we can manage. So I mean, okay, they come here. So that is threatening queen takes down here, but that's still pretty nice for us. So we will just play pawn takes pawn. We will probably see queen takes pawn, and then I guess queen takes this pawn. And yeah, yes, that is something like that we're going to see. And about even on time. They don't have any threats. We still have a bunch more material. And as long as there are queens on the board, of course, stuff can get tricky, but we take this pawn. So now we are even on pawns. Now we are up a clear piece. No, we're actually ahead on pawns, so we are up a pawn and a piece. So the position is definitely winning. It's definitely winning. So it's a pretty good scalp. I mean, 1959 for a Danish opponent here. Logistical singularity. It's a pretty strong player that we seem to have a winning position against. But we haven't won the game. It's important. We haven't won the game. No. We can easily mess this up. I'm thinking about knight here to h5 to here. I think that looks very nice. We could also come this way, but I think this is very nice. On f4 we would attack the queen, we would look at e2, and of course on e2 that would be a check to the king, so a lot of stuff possible. And the contrast in king safety is also enormous, of course, because they have lost the central pawn here, and we still have this nice triangle. We could say we're weak on the dark squares, but they don't have any knights, they don't have a dark squared bishop. Basically impossible to attack the dark squares. So far, pretty nice game. Okay. So the queen comes here, looking to maybe snag this pawn, but maybe we can start some attack against the king. So if knight here, queen takes, knight here check, king here, no. Knight here check. Maybe we want the queen back first. And maybe the way we want to do it actually is to protect this pawn and threaten to come here. So we go here, protects this pawn, and threatens to come in here with this check. And a nice centralizing move by the queen, also attacking this pawn, really showing the power of Her Majesty the Queen here. And if we do get knight to f4 in, we're very close to checkmate, because we would be threatening queen coming to b5, check, and the king would have to move because interposing the queen wouldn't work. And it's very close to checkmate, but it isn't quite checkmate just yet. Yeah, of course, also they have a hard time developing their rook. Okay, so they go here just so I can capture their pawn. Probably a wise decision. We will come closer with our knight. So now I actually have kind of a funny plan of playing king g7, rook b8, rook b8, queen takes, queen check moves, but now the king can move. And we have 3 minutes, so pretty good on time. Let's say queen check, let's say king here. Do we have something? Maybe not. Knight check. They are thinking about rook here, of course. So that's their devious plan. But that falls into checkmate immediately, though, so that doesn't really work. So I think I will queen check. I think for now just double up the queen and the rook here. Just I mean, it's not the most ambitious move. Probably we have some kind of knockout blow, but now I am threatening checkmate, queen c1, check, rook takes, and that is actually checkmate because of the knight. Maybe they will miss that. Oh no, my queen, as our good friend and awesome chess personality I am Eric Rosen would say. A little bit of a queen sacrifice. So maybe we will see that. Maybe we will even see resignation, who knows, I mean. Okay, so they move this so that we can't really checkmate like that anymore. But we could play something like knight here, check, king goes up, queen takes here, check, king goes here, and then rook here, check, and the king goes here or something. We have the queen here, and I mean that kinda must be winning. Check. It's a sacrifice of the knight. But we do get the combination of queen and rook against the king with almost no protection, driving him towards our pawns here. So that looks very good. We're actually up on time now. So let's say king g2, queen takes f7. Okay, that is what we're going to see. So we are going for it. Check, protected by the knight. King takes knight. And maybe I just have to calculate this, because maybe queen check here. No, that doesn't work, of course, because the queen is defending here. So we do have to play this check here. And king here is forced. And we must have checkmate there. h5 is extremely close to being checkmate. Or just queen here. Is that checkmate? Queen to f5. That's just checkmate, I think. So queen comes here. Check and mate. What a satisfying game. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little game. I think I'll go on my chess.com account now and analyze this with the game review. Of course, the board saves the game review directly to my chess.com user, and maybe I'll even do a Patreon exclusive video for that. Who knows? Thank you so much for being here. You rock. Thanks for watching. Bye.